She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Catchings.
You know Caitlin Clark, right? The basketball phenom who's been lighting up the WNBA? Well, she just got hit with the craziest tweet ever. We're talking next-level hate here. But guess what? While some are trying to tear her down, Clark's out there breaking records left and right. Let's talk about how she's handling this wild ride. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine this. Clark's the #1 draft pick, crushing it on the court and making the WNBA buzz like never before.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the hype that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark Kent. Superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
But then, bam, someone drops this insane tweet about her. It's so wild, I can't even tell you what it says yet. You won't believe it when I do. How can someone so good at basketball face such crazy criticism? It's like some people can't stand seeing her succeed. But here's the thing, Clark's not letting it slow her down. We're gonna break down this whole situation, look at Clark's incredible journey, and figure out why some folks just can't handle her success. You ready for this? You've heard about Clark's scoring, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. She's transforming an entire franchise, selling out arenas, and even her teammates can't believe what's happening. But why is her success making some people so uncomfortable? Let's talk numbers for a second. Clark didn't just break the NCAA all-time scoring record. She shattered a mark that stood for over 50 years. That's half a century of basketball history gone in a flash. And she's not slowing down in the WNBA.
So Caitlin Clark finished with that triple-double. She just continues her superstar trajectory. She's the only rookie in WNBA history with the triple-double.
Caitlin Clark is doing things beyond her years. Let me show you how good 22 has been. She's on pace to generate the most points in a season in WNBA history.
Get this, Clark dished out 19 assists in a single game against the Dallas Wings. That's not just good, it's the most assists by any player in WNBA history. And she didn't stop there. She became the first WNBA rookie to drop a triple-double, putting up 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 13 assists. That's the kind of stat line you'd expect from a seasoned veteran, not a rookie fresh out of college. But here's where it gets really wild. Clark's not just putting up crazy numbers, she's changing the entire landscape of women's basketball. The Indiana Fever? They're selling out games left and right. TV ratings are through the roof. It's like Clark stepped onto the court and suddenly everyone remembered how exciting women's basketball can be. Even her teammates are feeling the Clark effect. Kelsey Mitchell, who's been with the Fever for years, said it best, "I don't think people would know without C²." So shout out to Caitlin. That's right, Clark's not just elevating her own game, she's lifting up everyone around her. And it's not just individual success. The Indiana Fever, a team that's been struggling for years, just clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016. That's not a coincidence. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in full force. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. Clark's not the only rookie making wave. Angel Reese is out there turning heads too. Between the two of them, they're creating a perfect storm of talent and excitement that's got people packing arenas and tuning in like never before. So with all this success, all these broken records, and all this excitement, you'd think everyone would be celebrating Clark, right? Well, you'd be wrong.
Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star, and Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate, they both get along, they're cool with each other, they're high-end competitors, etc., etc. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not, They don't like seeing somebody black coming at somebody white who is a beloved star of theirs. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship.
Some people just can't stand to see her win, and you won't believe what one critic said about her. Remember that tweet we mentioned earlier? It's time to reveal just how crazy it really was, and trust me, it's worse than you think. While Clark's been racking up wins on the court, she's been facing a different kind of battle online, and recently, one tweet took things to a whole new level of absurdity. What could make millions of people view a single post, only to overwhelmingly reject its message? Let's talk about this tweet that shocked the basketball world. Someone actually compared Caitlin Clark's on-court behavior to school shooter behavior. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not just inappropriate, it's downright offensive. This isn't your typical trash talk or criticism. This is a whole new level of messed up.
WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way.
Now you might think a tweet like that would get a lot of attention, and you'd be right. It went viral, racking up 1.3 million views. But here's the kicker. It only got 108 likes. That's like filling up an entire NBA arena and only having one section give you a half-hearted clap. People saw it, but they weren't buying what this person was selling. The reaction was intense. People were calling it repugnant, ignorant, and hateful. Even folks who aren't big Caitlin Clark fans were saying this tweet crossed a line. One person put it perfectly: belittling the deaths of every child lost in a school shooting because you can't handle when an athlete's passion shows is disgusting. They're not wrong. You know what's crazy? This tweet isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's opening up this whole big conversation about how we treat successful women in sports. Why are people so quick to tear down female athletes when they're at the top of their game? It's like some folks can't handle seeing a woman dominate in what they think should be a man's world. Think about it. Clark's out there breaking records, selling out arenas, and making the WNBA more exciting than ever. And instead of celebrating that, some people are trying to bring her down with these wild comparisons. It's not just unfair, it's straight up bizarre. But here's the thing, Clark's not letting it slow her down. If anything, it seems like all this noise is just making her play harder. She's still out there dropping triple doubles and making history. It's like she's using all this negativity as fuel to prove her critics wrong. And it's not just Clark. This whole situation is shining a light on how female athletes are treated in general. Why is it that when a woman shows passion on the court, some people see it as a problem? When male athletes get fired up, they're called competitive. But when a woman does it, suddenly it's an issue? That doesn't make any sense. But you want to know what's really wild? While all this drama is happening online, Clark's changing the game in real life. The Indiana Fever are selling out games. TV ratings are through the roof. It's like Clark stepped onto the court and suddenly everyone remembered how exciting women's basketball can be. So yeah, this tweet was bad, really bad. But in a weird way, it's also showing us how much progress we still need to make. It's not just about one player or one sport. It's about how we treat successful women in general. You'd think all this drama would throw Clark off her game, right? Wrong. Her response to the hate was so unexpected, it left even her biggest critics speechless. What could possibly turn such intense negativity into rocket fuel for success? Well, Caitlin Clark's not just playing basketball, she's rewriting the playbook on how to handle haters. While that awful tweet was making the rounds, Clark was busy dropping jaws on the court. She didn't just brush off the criticism, she used it to fuel a performance that had everyone talking for all the right reasons. Picture this, Clark steps onto the court, and it's like she's in a whole different league. She's not just good, she's scary good. We're talking career-high 35 points in a single game. That's not rookie numbers, folks. That's MVP territory. And she's doing it with a target on her back, with all eyes on her every move. But here's what's really wild. Clark's not just scoring points. She's changing the entire vibe of her team. Her teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, put it best: "I don't think people would know without C-squared, so shout out to Caitlin." That's not just teammate praise. That's acknowledging that Clark's changing the game. Now you might be wondering, how does someone stay so focused with all this noise around them? Clark's got a secret weapon: her own mindset. She's not just playing basketball, she's on a mission. In her own words, "I always bet on myself and I always believed in myself." That's the biggest thing. It's like she's got this unshakable confidence that turns every negative tweet into motivation. And let's talk about that motivation for a second. It's like Clark's got this superpower where she can take all the hate, all the criticism, and turn it into pure basketball magic. Every time someone tries to bring her down, she just plays harder, shoots sharper, and wins bigger. It's almost like the haters are her secret training partners, pushing her to new heights without even realizing it. But Clark's impact goes way beyond just her own stats. She's part of this dynamic duo with Angel Reese that's got the whole WNBA buzzing. They're not just playing basketball, they're putting on a show that's bringing in new fans and starting conversations about what women's sports can be. It's like they've injected this whole new energy into the league. And you know what's really crazy? All this drama, all this success, it's happening in Clark's rookie season. Most players take years to adjust to the pros, but Clark's out here looking like a seasoned vet from day one. She's not just living up to the hype, she's blowing past it at full speed. But let's zoom out for a second. Clark's journey isn't just about basketball. It's shining a light on some big issues in sports. Why do some people get so worked up when a woman shows passion on the court? Why is success sometimes met with such intense backlash? Clark's not just breaking records, she's challenging how we think about female athletes. Here's the thing though, while everyone's busy arguing about Clark, she's just out there doing her thing. She's not letting the noise distract her from her goal. If anything, it seems like all this attention is just making her play harder. It's like she's on a mission to prove that her game speaks louder than any tweet ever could. Caitlin Clark's journey is like nothing we've seen before. She's breaking records, selling out arenas, and making the WNBA buzz like never before. But with all that success comes some serious hate. Remember that crazy tweet comparing her to a school shooter? That's the kind of nonsense Clark's dealing with. But here's the thing, Clark's not letting it slow her down. She's out there dominating games, lifting up her teammates, and changing how people see women's basketball. It's not just about the stats, it's about showing the world what women athletes can do. So what does Clark's story tell us? It shows that talent and determination can overcome even the wildest hate. In the end, it's not the critics who'll be remembered, it's the champions who change the game forever. And Clark, she's definitely changing the game.